Hey everybody, I have this fun card to show you. It's a Cascade fun fold. And the first one I did was this one with the cheerful daisies. And I just love this one. It turned out so beautifully. It is using the Bubble Bath cardstock and then some of the designer series paper. And then for the insides of the daisies, I used copper clay that I sponged off and just used the really lightest part that I was left with. So, you know, you can change the colors of our ink if it's too dark or too bright for you. Just stamp off or take your, let me see, where's my little, here it is. So this one is the one that I used with the copper clay. So what you do is you just take some scrap paper and you take your copper clay, and it's really like a copper, but when you have it full strength, it's really dark. So just lighten it up to the shade that you like, and it's got some really pretty pink undertones, which is why I think I like it so well. But wouldn't that be pretty on a card, just as a swoosh, just like that? That'd be really cool. I'm gonna have to try something. No, it looks like eyelashes, sort of. So, you know, just have fun and play with all of your supplies, and, you know, you'll be surprised at what you get. So I'm gonna put this away. Oops. Copper clay doesn't want to go away. So I'll put that up there, and I'll put my pieces away. I always keep extra underneath so I don't mess up the piece that I'm filming on. So let me just give you a few tips before we get started. So when I made this card, I absolutely love this brushed metallic paper. You just see all the beautiful colors in it. So there's two different shades. This one has a lot of the Lost Lagoon and gold. And then I also see kind of like Pretty Peacock in there. And then the other one is a Calypso Coral. And it lends itself so well with different colors because it's, you know, such a beautiful color. I like this with Petal Pink. It's just so beautiful. Then I used this new Inked Botanicals and this paper. I showed it in another card, but it is just absolutely gorgeous. There's the piece that I used for the front. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. And then this one, wouldn't this make a pretty background like it did with this one? Guess I'm gonna have to make one. And then the other paper that I used, of course, I showed you this before. It's the huge pack. It's a 48 piece, and it's called Delightfully Eclectic. So just some beautiful pieces in there. I might have to make one with that. Isn't it pretty? If you like the darker colors. I'll show you real quick. This is the new Gorgeously Made, and this is where I got the pieces out of. Isn't that beautiful? This is the front, and then of course I always like anything that looks like the edge of composition paper with that stitching. I just think that's so pretty. I haven't used this one yet. That'd make a pretty cool edge on something. And then of course I used cheerful daisies. You know, I've been having a lot of fun with them. So I'm gonna put these to the side. And then I did a lemon lolly. And then this one is the wild wheat that I used, and I just kept, you know, stamping, scrubbing off with my blending brush until I get the color that I wanted, because that's another one. It's really quite dark, and then I love the lemon lolly with that. I think it turned out really pretty. And then this paper is from the brightest birthday, I believe. Some fun paper, all bright and beautiful. So this has some really pretty papers in it too. Really bright, fun colors. That's where I'm going to use this on my next one for the bubble bath. Wouldn't that be pretty? So I got a couple of tips for you. So if you want to make this card, when I first made this, I just cut the designer series paper, the brush metallic, but it's really quite delicate. I mean, it's great for layering on your cardstock, but in here it just they kind of wilt. So what I did is I took a piece of the paper. What did I do with it? Oops. So let me show you. So I took a piece of the designer series paper, the brushed metallic, and I layered it on top of the Lost Lagoon. So cut out enough so you get a shadow. I mean, you could cut it even bigger, but then you're left with that negative that you can put on a piece of cardstock. I haven't kind of, got it all figured out in my head what I want to do with the card, but isn't that pretty layered on something? I was thinking even with this piece right here, you could stamp all the way down and mimic the lines that are in this designer series paper. So I think that'll be a cool card. And then you are left with the pieces that are more substantial. They won't flop over as much as this one. I mean, I still love this card. It's going to go to somebody who will enjoy it. But this way you have a little bit more, it's a little more sturdy. So I'm going to put these pieces right here. And then what I thought I'm going to try to do with this one is I put it on a little strip of paper. This is 3 3/4 by 3/4, and then I scored the ends at 1/2, and I taped this on here and then just used a little bit of liquid glue, which hasn't dried yet, just to hold it on there, and then I'm going to pop it down in the center so it gives it more volume. So let's get this out of the way because I have to show you the scoring. Oh, there are my pieces that I wanted to show you. So this is 2 3/4 by 4, and then this piece is 3 by 4 1/4. But like I said, you could cut it bigger if you wanted to, and that way you have more of a frame around it. And then this is what you just put your die on and run it through the machine, and then you get your cutouts. So let's put this over here. I'll bring the card back in a minute. These are the pieces. I think I used 4 of them on the inside. But you need 2 pieces of cardstock, and this is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. We're going to do a little bit of scoring. Then you're going to need a piece that's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and this is for your back panel. You're going to need to cut a piece that's 4 1/4, and I did this one at 2 1/2, and then use your die to cut the top. And you're going to need some pieces for the fun. These pieces right here, aren't they just so pretty? And then I just cut 6 of these at 2, and I just left them at 6 because you're gonna cut them off a little bit, and we'll do that when I have my paper trimmer out. And I'm gonna put these pieces to the side because I didn't think of it before I cut these out, but these will not go to waste. They'll be used on something. And then what I did is I make a template for myself. When you are cutting these pieces out, like this one right here, you want to take a piece that's 2 inches wide and then like 5 1/2. So then you just line it up and then just cut, draw your angle and then just cut it so that you have a template and you don't have to try to figure out how to cut the angles. And I am definitely challenged when it comes to right and left, so I write right and left on these, and that way I know how to cut my paper. Because when you cut this paper for either side, you're going to want to cut it like this. You cut it together so they'll be the same, and then you just line this up right like this, and you cut it. Then when you flip that one over, you'll have your pieces the right way, and I'll show you in just a second. So let's do a little bit of scoring and cutting. I need these pieces. I'm going to put these ones to the side so I don't lose them. I'm going to put them right back in there. These ones over here. And bring in the paper trimmer. If you don't have a paper trimmer, you need one. Oops. Let's put this right here. Okay. So let's do our scoring. I don't need that piece right yet. So always put your cutting blade down at the bottom so you don't use it by mistake. So you want to score. I'll put this up here so I make sure you can see. You want to score at 2 1/8. And then score at 4 1/4. And if you want to open the arm on your paper trimmer, it would be 6 3/8. But since I'm lazy and I don't want to open the arm, just flip your paper around like this. Sorry, like this, and score the other end. See, you scored at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. And you put the other side in and you score at 2 1/8. So there you have your lines. And then let's do the other one. You need your 2 pieces. So 2 1/8, 4 1/4. And if you're opening your arm, it's going to be 6 3/8. If you're not opening the arm, flip it around at 2 1/8. So now we are going to need the cutting blade. So I'm going to put this up here because I want you to be able to see as much of my trimmer as possible. So what you do is you take this score line, line it up in the track, then take your, sorry, make sure these are absolutely straight. So line it up in your track. I hope you can see that line. Line it up right in that track. And then this point, you want to line it up at 2 on the bottom of your trimmer. I'm going to put this up here. I want to make sure that this is getting in the shot. And I'm still not sure if it's getting in the shot. But your point is going to be at the 2-inch mark at the bottom of your trimmer, right there. Let me see if you can see the top. Okay, so just so you can see, line this up right at the top, and then 2 inches at the bottom. Then you want to cut. And then you're left with your Cascade pieces. Right like that. Isn't it cool? And then I'm going to keep this handy because we want to cut our pieces of this paper. And I'll go ahead and do that. So, and then I'll show you the scoring or the folding on. Okay, I'm back. I had to switch out my Designer Series paper because I wasn't listening to myself. So you cut 6 pieces at 2 inches, and I just cut them at 6 inches, and then you can cut them down to the size that you need. So the first thing you want to do with your pieces is you want to have one facing up and one facing down of each set. So just do that before you get started, and then you won't be crying like I was. So one facing up, the pattern that you want, and one facing down. One facing up and one facing down. So if you do it like that, then just leave them like that before you start start cutting, and then it will work out for you. So the back piece right here is the 2 inches by 5 1/4. So this one's the simplest one. So just put it in your paper trimmer and cut at 5 1/4. Okay. Put those pieces over there. So then let's get one of our card bases here and go ahead and fold it up. So you just want to fold it. And this is the important part. So this little flap on the front, you want to make sure that this is facing to the outside. So when you fold your other piece that butts up against this, that little flap needs to fold in that way. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute, but let's get these cut. So we have these pieces. This one will fit right in here, right like this. Then the next piece that you're going to have designer series paper is this piece right here. So however you want to cut this or make yourself a template, I made myself a template. So what I do is I just line it up with this. In the beginning, when you make your template, you want to line this up right in here because this is where your designer series paper is going to go. So you line it up, and this one should be cut down just a tiny little bit, but I just left it long. And then what you do is, you know, your paper would be longer, so you just pull it up and you make sure that you have the same amount on each side. Then you just use a pencil, make your mark, and then cut that to make your template. So there's your template for that, and then your paper is going to go on this piece. So what you want to do, again, is you want a 2-inch piece by, you know, just your scraps, just so it's long enough to make your template. This one's probably, let's see, 4.5. Or I would just cut it at 5 so you'll be safe, and then you can make your template out of it. So you just put your paper right behind it. Make sure you have it where you want it. Whoops. Use your pencil, trace it, and then cut it in your paper trimmer. And then the front piece, yeah. So then this piece, you're going to have 1, 2, and then your piece is going to go here. You know, you make your template by this, but then when your paper's going to go here. So remember, so this flap, and then the back flap. So you know, you can refer to this video, and then that way you don't get confused. So here's our piece for the back, right like this, and we're going to cut this piece like this. And you just want to line it up. Make sure your pieces are all together where you want them. And then just put it in your paper trimmer and line it up. Make sure it's in the track right there. And then just cut that piece off. And then you're left with your pieces that go together, and then you can just check them to make sure that they actually fit. And then if you need to take a little bit off the bottom, it's easier to take off the bottom than at the top. So I do want some taken off of the bottom so that I have a little more reveal at the top. And like I said, this is easier to do it at a straight angle. Take a little bit, leave them long, and then you can take off. That's like your hair. You get it cut. If you get too much cut off at one time, you're not going to put it back. But if you leave it long, then you can just, so you have your reveal there. Isn't that cool? I love it. So let's do the last piece. Like I said, remember to leave your pieces just like this, one facing up with your pattern and one facing down with your pattern. So then you want to make sure that you get the right piece, because it's going to be right here in the front. So line it up. Let's put our pieces right back there. And then put it in your paper trimmer. Line it up in the track, like that. Go. There you have your pieces. Just check them for fit. I swear, I am directionally challenged, I'm telling you. So we need to take a little bit more off the bottom. Isn't that pretty? Love it. So put it back in here. Take a little bit off the bottom. There you have it. Nice. Okay. So let's put this card together. We've got all of our cutting. We've got all of our scoring. The back pieces. The next pieces. And the front pieces. Okay. Get this out of the way. Bring this down here. I need to keep all my pieces together so that I can make another card. So I put them back in here. I'll have them together. All right, so let's bring our card over. And let's get started. So you want to score, you want to crease, burnish your pieces, and you want to make sure that they're straight. If somehow they got out of whack and they don't all line up straight on the side, now's the time to fix it before you get started putting your stuff together. But this looks pretty straight, so now you want to burnish so you have nice crisp edges to put your card together. So just flip it over. You need a bone folder to do this. It just gives you such a nice crease. So put that one right there. See how flat that is? That makes it nice for our next step. So this one, I'm not listening to myself. You need to put this flap on the right side so that it opens up this way. So then when you fold this one, you want your flap to open this way. And I'll show you in a minute what it looks like if you do it the wrong way. So get your creases nice and crisp so that they're going to butt up really nicely. Look how nice they butt together like that. So this, you're going to have your piece of, I'll put my cardstock away. Yes, I did. I need this piece. So this is for the back. I used a white piece on this just so I could write on it, but if you used a black pen, you could definitely write on that back panel. So let's put that right there. So the first thing you want to do is you want to attach these pieces right like this. So use your Tombow liquid glue. You just put it like this, and then you just want to line it up. And I just want to make sure that my edges are straight. So if we do it like that, then we know the edges are right up to the end and they're straight. So then you put glue on your other side. And butt it up against that piece, making sure that it's straight. Okay, we got it. And that's a good thing. If you have just a little tiny gap, you can't tell because the cardstock is exactly the same color. I think I tried to butt that one up too tight. That's good. So we're going to leave it like that. Nope, I'm not going to leave it like that because it's off just a tiny little bit. That'll make me crazy. Let's pull it over just a little bit. Okay, there we go. So we're going to start adding our pieces. So just pull this piece back. And we're going to add some glue. Put this piece down. So you have the reveal at the top, however much you want to reveal, because the bottom you're not going to see it, but you want the top and the sides to be exactly how you want them to be. So put that there. So then open it up. I'm just going to do one side at a time. I'm going to put that in there just to make sure that you have it in the right spot. It's so easy to get distracted when you're putting these pieces down. So if you do one side at a time, then I feel like, you know, you have it. Just make sure you're at the top and on the sides. And bring this in and do this piece right here. This paper is beautiful, isn't it? I love this color. Lost Lagoon is just so pretty. So then flip this side over. Okay, I gotta put this back just a tiny little bit for some reason. And give it another crease. Okay. And we want this, crease this, and then we want to put our back piece in here. Add some glue to it. Bring that down over just a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. This piece is going to show. And then we want to do the last piece right here. This card is pretty simple. It's just that the angles, you know, sometimes it's a little tricky, you know, with cutting your angles and getting them straight. But if you make that template for your designer series paper and just make sure that you put one piece up, one piece down, then it's pretty easy. But you do have to pay attention when you're putting it together. Oh, I was going to show you what it looks like if you don't pay attention. So I was making this card and I wasn't paying attention to my flaps, which way they went. So I ended up just adding a piece to the front, and it looks a little different, but I think I'm going to decorate it and just see what it turns out like. See the flaps, I put them to the inside instead of the outside. My brain was not doing its job, so, but, you know, just watch what you're doing and make sure your flaps are on the outside, to the outside, just like that, so it has that movement. And then this is that really pretty piece that I cut with the tags, or no, this was the Gorgeously Made. That's where it came from. And then this paper is just so pretty. Isn't that beautiful on the back side of that too? Love it. Either side I would be happy with. Then you just want to line this up. And then that keeps your card together. Isn't that cool? I love this card. Just so pretty. So then you want to start just adding your pieces inside. So I did show you this one, and it should be nice and dry now. And this one, I think I'm going to do it first so that I can get it in the right spot. And you don't want to come up above your card top if you want it to go inside of a regular envelope. If you have a bigger envelope and you want your pieces to spill out over the top, then you'll just have to use, you know, a different size envelope. But if you want to use our regular ones, just make sure it doesn't go past the top. So then I'm just gonna put this in here. I want it to be down far enough and centered. Yeah, that looks good. So then, oops, press it down. And then it gives you some extra, you know, it fills it in, so you can put some on the back, and then you can put some on the front. You can put it on the back side of these flaps, or you can put it on the front side of this piece that we put inside. And I think that's so cool that way. So then you just want to add your other pieces to the back. And I want to tape these together before I put them in there. So just dry fit them first. See where you want them to be. They do like to stick together. All those little pieces. So let's just get these like this. And then I'm going to use a little bit of tape on that just to hold them down, because this one is going to go to the back. It doesn't matter if the tape comes through the back of this. Whoops. And then you can just put a piece of tape on the back to hold them together, hopefully. You get enough traction there. Okay. There you go. And then you can just add some glue to the back side of this tape. And then maybe just a little, you need to be careful with it though. You don't want it to come through the front side. Just put it in random little places. Make sure that you're getting it on the leaf part that's going to be holding it down. And I do want some up here. I like it to be free to move around a little bit, but you don't want it to be flopping either. So let's put that over there, bring this in, and then just slide this down and make sure that you don't come over the top. And then just press it down. Get down in there. And then maybe just take your bone folder and go up from the bottom and make sure that you have it pressed down. Isn't that pretty? And then you can put your last one in the front. And I think I'm going to try to put it on that piece that's right there. And maybe I should have done that first, but you know, hindsight is 20/20. You know, you live and you learn with what you're doing. So let's see here. I'll make sure that it hits where it's supposed to. Okay. So I'm going to give it a little bit of glue down here at the bottom to hold it in place. You just want to make sure that you don't go above that strip of glue, or that strip that's inside of here. Okay. I'm going to put it off to the side a little bit. Press it down. Make sure I got it on there. It's a little fiddly, but it's definitely worth it. Isn't that pretty? I love it. So then you want to put your piece on the front. And this, I don't know if I showed you this or not, but this is that new, just wanted to say. dies, and they're just so pretty. I don't know what I did with them. Sorry. If you look them up online, it's Just Wanted to Say. I know I had them over here because I wanted to show them to you. Oh, here they are. I knew I put them in there so I could show them to you. But these are the words, the happy birthday, the celebrate, and then these pretty little, it's a gift, hearts and stars. And then I love this one. I can't wait to make a card with it. Just feel better, or feel better soon. That's what it says. And then it has the shadow that you can cut out. But these are really a nice die set. So what I do is I use our adhesive sheets so that then you can just peel the backside off. If you can find a place to start here. There we go. So then peel off your backing of your adhesive sheet. Put him over here a minute. And then just add a little bit of glue to the backside of your flower. Just put it in spots where you know it's not going to leak out on your card. Just tiny little bits. Then you just want to add it to the front of your card. I like it right down the center. Oops. My Celebrate's ready. So then just take your Celebrate and put it along the bottom, and you can use the bottom part to line up your letters. And they're off a little bit. That's okay. It's still pretty. So there you have it. Well, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you make a bunch of your own. Just make sure when you're cutting these pieces, one up, one down, and then you don't mess up your designer series paper like I did. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll have a PDF of the supplies, and have fun. Bye-bye.